Let's learn how to work with AutoKey. AutoKey can speed up our animation process. It reduces the time it takes to create keyframes. You'll find it right underneath the animation menu on the animation panel. So with it on, as we take our objects and start to move them, we'll automatically have a keyframe created. The only thing we need to keep in mind when working with AutoKey is that it is on, meaning that if we are just testing poses, it's best to work with AutoKey off just to see if our idea of a certain gesture would work. Because with AutoKey on, of course, that pose is going to be saved. And if you've run out of undos, well, then there's really nothing much more you can do except try to go back to the pose that you once had. So just be very careful with AutoKey. Always be mindful when it's on, only use it when you need to. But with that being said, it's a wonderful tool. Again, it's a time-saving tool, and I use it quite often when animating. So what I'll now do is go ahead and undo the keyframe that was created with AutoKey. I'll also go ahead and set the parameters back to 0 to bring the ship back on the path. And we'll go through and animate with AutoKey on our ship control to add some offsets. Let's say we get started. So, taking a look at the animation and our plan for this lesson, what we want to do is go ahead and add, let's say, some up and down movement. So as the ship travels along the path, we can have an arc where the ship, let's say, travels down and then back up again and then starts to lower by the time we get to the end of the path. So that's what we're going to go ahead and work on. So to get started, we'll first have a keyframe stored on frame 1. Let's make sure AutoKey is on, and we'll lift our ship up in the y-axis. Okay, now moving forward, let's say we have the ship swoop down. So we can have that happen, just taking a look at this, on about frame 40. We need enough time so that the motion is not abrupt, so that it's a smooth transition downward. So on frame 40, we can go ahead and just translate our ship down in the y-axis. Notice the keyframe has automatically been stored. Beautiful. Now let's have it swoop back up as we get to the second half of this path, second curve. So we can have that happen, just taking a look at this, around frame 90. As we scrub back and forth, what we're doing is getting an idea of the rhythm we would like to capture in this animation. So looking at the swoop down, frame 90 would be a good choice to bring the ship back up. So we'll go ahead and translate it up. Great. And then by the time we get to the end of the path, we can have the ship kind of swoop down just a little bit more. So we'll just bring it down in the y-axis. Great. So notice in no time at all we have created these keyframes. No need to click any key icons. No need to click our key button. No need to press the K key. Just simply move the object and the keys are automatically set, and we get some really nice results. Of course, we can always go back in and tweak the animation, polish it with our F-curves. But we'll take care of that in the next lesson when we discuss the topic of ghosting. But for right now, we should be very satisfied with what we have. Feel free to also go in and animate the character's head control to maybe look at where he's flying. Of course, he has a panel inside. We can just imagine that. But still, the pilot might look outside of the window. And in that case, it would be a good idea to animate the look around. Now, with that said, of course, it might be difficult to see that from the angle that we're at. So you may consider then adding a camera to your scene. And if you'd like to learn more about camera animation, do look into our Introduction to Camera Animation course as we teach how to create that type of control rig for your cameras and other topics, of course. All right, well, that's going to finish this lesson. We learned about AutoKey. Let's say we go ahead and correct this ship's path in the next lesson when we discuss ghosting.